Um, I'm primarily focusing on the myths prior to the museum, as far as what's true and what isn't, because now that the museum exists, it's got a lot of footage to verify
Yeah, yeah, right, absolutely.
different aspects of it. So that's kind of the thesis of where I'm going with it. And it is contemporary because of, if you go there now, you actually see what's being talked about and exhibits to support it. So that would be, in my mind, the contemporary part of it.
Okay, but what is the question that first of all, I think it's a great idea. They're really, really good. I have not been there. I've been meaning to get there since it opened.
Yeah.
But it's, so you've got to book the things in advance or should just show up and risk having to wait 4 or 5 hours.
Is that a question?
It's a question, yeah. How did you get in?
Well, I haven't been, but I've got a lot of literature on it. But I've heard that just depends on the time of year that you go,
Yeah.
whether it's kind of a walk-in or you have to book in advance. And of course, I think the spring and the summer are definitely the most busiest time.
With all the tourists, right,
Yeah,
right.
with the tourists, because you got a lot of tourists from all over the world actually that come to that,
Right.
not just the United States.
But, okay, I have a prof's question for you. Where, you'll need some kind of myth somewhere. A myth that you can identify and that will have 3 or 4 characteristics.
Mhm.
And I don't quite understand what the myth is.
Well, what I've gathered so far is what the myth was prior to, which is documented on certain issues, you know, and what the reality is that's exhibited in the museum itself. Like, for example, there's a journalist out of New York, which is, he did a really good paper on it. And he talks about a lot of the myths prior to it opening.
Why don't you, if you would be so kind as to send me, can you send me that article?
Yeah.
Is that possible? It has
It's on
a
the
U-
internet.
It has a URL. Yeah, why don't you send that to me? Then I can figure out how to articulate this. This isn't really, I'm really pleased you brought this up because there will be some cases where finding, like one of the students who's not here walked up to me and she said, I want to do Venus and I want to do this problem. See, in that case, everything is very clear cut, but there will be cases where it's not so clear cut, and I don't want to work with you, and so you can do a project like this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can only do probably a handful of things. I mean, obviously, I can't do
Well, yeah,
everything that's in there because it's, you know, it's humongous. But
right.
yeah, so I do have a few things that I'd like to.
Right, it
touch
would take
on.
100 hours to
Yeah.
even see a little bit of it, so
Right.
we have to kind of coordinate that.
Yeah. And what makes this contemporary is this gentleman's papers was done back in August 29th, 2016.
Okay, great. Just send that to me and I'll work, because I can imagine things, but I need to see the specialist at work.
Okay.
Okay, and I can work with you and then,
Yeah.
I think, give you a really good pathway. But it's a really great idea. Does anyone else want to do a really, 2 minutes?
Oh, I don't, but I have something to say about the
Yeah, please do.
the museum. Since you're a veteran, if you use your VA card or your retired ID,
Oh, right.
you'll get in for free, and you can bring someone else for free at any time of the year, no matter if it's at capacity or anything. They will let you in. That goes for the Holocaust Museum and a few other museums. Because I did it last summer.
You know, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I didn't know
Thank you
did
so
until
much.
I went,
Yeah.
but you can, and if you go to the Black History Museum, start at the bottom.
Mhm.
Start at the bottom. That's where all
The
the
roots
cool
of
stuff,
everything.
all the real stuff's at.
You know, we
It's at
should
the bottom.
all try to get there,
Upstairs,
just as a
downstairs.
kind of general
More
principle.
newer, modern stuff.
Right.
But if you want to see the core, the heart of it, go to the lobby first. And everyone tries to get in there, so it's good hard.
And by the way, I do want to interview someone to get more
See, that's,
insight
yes, absolutely.
on this project.
I carry both.
Does someone else want to go kind
I
of
had
quickly?
I had to use my
No.
VA. I laid it down.
Would you like,
Yeah.
does anyone else have, could I
I still had my VA. So I was imagining.
tell us about yours?
I can tell you about
Yeah, do, because it was very interesting. Okay, we'll do one more. Usually I'll do these as separate videos, but these are very short. Okay, go ahead, Elizabeth.
So I choose to go with, well, the region itself, I choose to go with South America.
Yeah, great, really good.
So I'm half Colombian, and growing up there, pretty much they were telling me about all this, like little stories and everything about all these people that tries to take care of the forest, pretty much, to put it that way.
This is the myths.
Yes. And the problem that I take is the Amazonian deforestation
Mm.
and everything that has been going on and how it's affecting not only Colombia but other South American countries as well as Brazil, Peru, Venezuela. There's part of the Amazon that goes there. So that's pretty much what I'm focusing.
I mean, see, I think this is we were talking about this last time. I think it's a great idea because you're looking at a precise myth, and it's sort of the ramifications of the relationship between ecological issues, which is really, really
Yeah, and out of like everything that I've been reading